Good morning. My name is Laura Grimm, and I will be your worship associate this morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We are a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, your ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from one another and from the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We are an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service, and I'd like to call your attention to the following. Today is our monthly Coffee with the Minister. For anyone relatively new to the fellowship, grab a cup of coffee and join Reverend Walter about 15 minutes after the service in his office down the hallway and get to know more about the fellowship. It's bowling time. How many people are excited by that announcement? I'm good for about one game. Please join your fellow UUs at Triway Lanes for this fun event on Sunday, October 15th from 6 to 9. More details can be found on flyers throughout the building or by talking to one of the members of the membership committee. Raise your hand if you're a membership committee. Look around, you can talk to these people. Okay. Come one, come all to our Madrigal Feast. The feast will be held on Friday, November 10th at 7 p.m. and on Saturday, November 11th at 6 p.m. Tickets are now available starting today, I think yesterday, but today for sure. And they're $37.50 each, or if you purchase two or more, they're reduced to $35 each. Please visit our website, UUFWC.org, and click on the castle, the Madrigal Castle, to find out more. There are also a few other announcements on the back of your bulletin if you'd like to check those out. If you'd like to find out more about our activities, please feel free to talk to Karen Skubik, our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome all once again on this beautiful day. Last week, I know we had a lot of visitors here, and we see some again with us now. Oops. Are there any visitors here today for the first time, or anyone who's been here second, third, fourth time who's never been able to introduce themselves that would like to do so? You don't have to, but I don't think there really is anyone that hasn't introduced themselves. So a lot of familiar faces, but I bet there's some faces here that you don't know who they are, and it'd be great if you reach a hand out and talk to somebody near you and get to know them a little better, and then welcome them to coffee time maybe together as well. Good to see you all.
And now I would ask you to open your minds and silence your cell phones for our time together.
ourselves that we receive, and in dying that we're born to eternal life. Make me a devil your peace.
Our chalice lighting this morning is Who We Are Called to Be by Pat Liechty. Our chalice is a reminder that in hard times, our ancestors in faith acted with courage to bring hope and safety, to bring life itself to threatened people. We light this chalice today as a reminder of who we are called to be in a world still dangerous and despairing. With courage and faith, we bring ourselves to the work before us. Let us now rise in body or spirit and sing our opening hymn, Rank by Rank. Again, we stand. Number 358 in the gray hymnal.
Rank by rank again we stand, from the four winds gathered hither, round the hall of walls to land. Whence we come and go and whither, from the stillness breaking clear, echoes wake to warn or cheer, cry of truth from Satan's sphere. All to us assembled here. Ours the years immemorial store, honored days and names we reckon, days of comrades gone before, lives that speak and deeds that beckon, from the dreaming of the night to the labors of the day, shines their everlasting light, guiding us upon our way. Though the path be hard and long, still we strive in expectation. Join we now and raise a song, one with them in aspiration, one in name, in honor one. Guard we well the crown they won, what they dream we ours to do. Oh, prayer rooms and seal them true.
Good morning. How you guys doing? Good. I am doing well, thank you for asking. Appreciate it. Tomorrow is a holiday. Does anybody know what holiday it is? Anyone? What'd you say? Christmas. Oh, no, you have a little longer to wait, which is good because I'm not ready. You are. Tomorrow is Indigenous Peoples' Day. Does anybody know that? No? Okay, that's all right. Do you still have to go to school? Yeah, yep. The moms say yes. Okay. So indigenous people, and when we celebrate Indigenous People Day here in this country, we're mostly talking about the people who were indigenous, meaning they were the people who lived in the land where we all live now a very long time ago, originally, maybe I should say. They still live here. It's not a long time ago. They still live here, but they were the people here originally. And they might be the descendant or the ancestors of some of the people here today. The story I have for you today is about Sky Woman, and it is a Haudenosaunee. I know, I practiced it even. Haudenosaunee story, and it's a creation story. Creation being, where did the earth come from? Almost every culture, I dare say every culture, has a creation story of some sort. Interestingly enough, no matter where they come from, they're not always all that different sometimes. But so long ago, the earth that you know now was deep beneath water. And it was deep beneath water, and it was very dark. No sun, no stars, no moon. And we have a Wonder Box, which I forgot about, so would anybody like to check our Wonder Box? Well, if we know the first part of the story, anybody want to guess what's in the Wonder Box? Guesses? Water. Whew, let's see. No.
Hope it's not a turtle.
All right. Charlie, you want to check? No? Okay. You want to check? All right. Let's check and see what's in there. Hold it up high. Let everybody know. I'm sorry. I didn't invite y'all up. Come on up. It is a turtle. Don't drop it. Come on up.
It's a turtle.
It's a turtle. All right. Let's set our turtle right there. I wonder why we have a turtle.
It's a turtle.
I wonder why we have a turtle.
Sure.
Yep, turtles all the way down. So what there was, I told you the earth was covered in water. Dark. No stars, no sun, no moon, nothing. And way up above was the land of happy spirits. And in the center of the land of happy spirits was the tree of life. So the great spirit one day called to their daughter and told them they needed to dig a hole right next to the tree of life. Okay? Dig, 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 dig. How do we dig? Dig, dig. Are we digging? Dig, dig. Well, why not? So, anyways, so she dug a hole, and when she looked down through that hole, she could see that lower world. And it was so dark, but she could kind of see the water and things. And she was commanded by the Great Spirit to go down there. And the Great Spirit picked up his daughter and dropped her down the hole. On the way, she grabbed some things from the tree of life and bundled them up in her skirt. So as she slowly fell, there were some animals who were watching her. And we're going to pick up the story, and I'm going to read the rest of this story to you from this book. It's called Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And it says that she fell like a maple seed, pirouetting on an autumn breeze. You know what those maple seeds are that look like helicopters? We call them helicopters.
Yeah.
A column of light streamed from that hole from the sky world, marking her path where only darkness had been before. It took her a long time to fall. In fear, or maybe hope, she clutched that bundle that she had gathered very tightly, and hurtling downwards, she saw only dark water below. But in that emptiness, there were many eyes gazing up at that sudden shaft of light. And they saw that small object, looked like a piece of dust starting to come down. As it grew closer, they could see it was a woman with her arms outstretched, long black hair billowing down as she spiraled toward them. Well, the geese nodded at one another, and they rose together from the water in a wave of goose music. We know goose music? How do they sound? Yeah, only lots of them, right? Yes, very good. So she felt the beat of their wings as they flew beneath to break her fall. Far from the only home that she'd ever known, she caught her breath at the warm embrace of soft feathers. And they carried her gently downward. And so it began. The geese could not hold the woman above the water for much longer, so they called an animal council. And they wanted to decide what to do. Resting on their wings, she saw all the animals gather: loons, otters, swans, beavers, fish of all kinds. A great turtle floated in their midst and offered his back for her to sit upon. Gratefully, she stepped from the goose wings onto the dome of his giant shell. The others understood that she needed land for her home and discussed how they might serve her. She couldn't sit on the turtle's shell forever. So the deep divers among the animals had heard of mud that was at the bottom of the water. And they agreed that they would go find some mud at the bottom of the water. The loon dove first, but the distance was too far, and after a while, he surfaced back up with nothing to show for his efforts. A loon is a bird, a diving bird. One by one, the other animals offered to help. There was otter and beaver, sturgeon. Anybody know what sturgeon is?
Oh, it's a kind of fish that has like flat body.
Yeah, it's a kind of fish, absolutely. But the depth and the darkness and the pressures were too great for even the strongest of the swimmers. They returned, gasping for air with their heads ringing, and some did not return at all. Soon, only little Muskrat was left, the weakest diver of all. He volunteered to go while the others looked on very doubtfully. His small legs flailed as he worked his way downward, and he was gone for a very long time. They waited and waited for Muskrat to return, fearing the worst for their relative. But before long, a stream of bubbles rose, and there was the small, limp body of the muskrat. He had given his life to aid this helpless human. But then the others noticed that his paw was tightly clenched, and when they opened it, there was a small handful of mud. Turtle said, "Here, put it on my back, and I will hold it." Sky Woman bent and spread the mud with her hands across the shell of the turtle. Moved by all the extraordinary gifts of the animals, she sang in thanksgiving, and then she began to dance. Her feet were caressing the earth on the top of the turtle. The land grew and grew as she danced her thanks, from the dab of mud on Turtle's back until the whole earth was made. Not by Sky Woman alone, but from the alchemy of all the animals' gifts put together with her deep gratitude. Together, they formed what we know today as Turtle Island, our home. Like any good guest, Sky Woman had not come empty-handed. The bundle was still clutched in her hand, and when she toppled from the hole in the sky world, she had reached and grabbed from the tree of life. In her grasp were branches, fruits, some seeds, all kinds of plants, and she scattered this on the new ground and carefully tended all those till the world turned from brown to green. Sunlight streamed from the hole in Sky World, and that allowed the seeds to flourish, while grasses, flowers, trees, and medicines from the plants spread everywhere. And now that the animals, too, had plenty to eat, many came to live with her on Turtle Island. The creation stories are some of the first stories that we have. And the elders say that when we gather to tell stories, the elders in the Haudenosaunee say that when we gather to tell stories, that's the way we remember, to keep telling stories, like Walter said, all the way down. What did you think? What was surprising about that story? Anybody have something surprising about that story? Anyone? Was there anything surprising? No? What was a favorite part of the story?
This guy person dropped his daughter down like, bye-bye.
I don't know any fathers who would do that, do you think? They'd just be like, bye, child. Anyone else, a favorite part of the story?
The dancing on the turtle.
The dancing on the turtle's back to spread the earth and to show the gratitude. So what do you think this story wants us to remember? Anyone? You are a piece of work today, boy. What does it want us to remember? Any thoughts?
Everybody works together.
Everybody worked together, somebody said, yeah. And that the earth and the creation. What about the earth and all that creation? They cared for it. They cared for it, and we need to continue to care for it, right? I love the story of Sky Woman. I like to imagine her falling. That's my favorite part of the story, and her black hair falling. Well, so that story comes from some of the indigenous people that were in this land before probably most of our ancestors were here. And tomorrow, you can tell that story in honor of Indigenous Peoples Day. Tell a friend. We are going to sing all of the children out to their religious exploration gatherings now with the children's blessing. And a reminder to the parents of the 7th and 12th graders, 7th through 12th graders, that you are to join us. We are all gathering down in the large group room. Let's scoot these things over a little bit. Thank you for the story.
Please join me now in the spirit of meditation and of prayer. I want you to hold the image of Sky Woman for a moment. What does she look like? Imagine her hair, her dress. What does her smile look like? Picture her on the back of that large world turtle in her bare feet, slicking the mud back and forth and dancing the world into existence. Hold the thought that in order to create, in order to respect, in order to show gratitude, sometimes we need to dance. Think of the moments of joy in your life. How do they feed you? What is the creation that you bring forth in those moments of joy? Think of what you wish to create in this world. And how does your love, how does your happiness show through that work? We can each dance something into existence. And as many of us know, it is always better to dance with a partner, with a friend, with a group. When we dance together, we make the world a better place. We may simply make the world. May it be so. We lift up the joys and sorrows within our community each week. Perhaps one of the largest joys was the celebration of life yesterday for Lowell Steinbrenner. While we miss Lowell, many of us got to know Lowell in depth yesterday. And we're amazed at a man who we never knew. How generous, how thoughtful, and how he has influenced so much and danced this world into a better place. Although the image of Lowell dancing is a little... Thank you, Lowell. Your life has been a joy. I also want to lift up Doris Cannon's grandson, Cameron, recently got married. His lovely bride, Sierra. Wishing them luck on their new lives together and blessings as they go forward. Each week we come into this community, into this building, with our own joys and sorrows, our own weights and buoyancies. If there is something that is heavy in your heart, something beyond words, I encourage you as we sing Spirit of Life to come up and to take a stone, put that sorrow onto it, and let it go. For sorrows shared are sorrows divided. And if there is something that lifts your heart, something that you wish to celebrate, I encourage you to do the same. Put that joy onto that stone and place it in the water. For joy shared are joys multiplied. If you wish for me to contact you about something that's weighing on your heart, you're welcome to come and take my hands while I'm up here, and I will reach out to you. Please now, come and place stones in the water as we sing Spirit of Life.
It has been said that faith without works is dead. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe in doing the work, no matter the source of your faith. The offering we are about to collect funds the works both within our community and beyond these walls. All donations collected today that are not specifically marked otherwise will be split with the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee. The UUSC is a nonprofit organization that advances human rights and social justice around the world, partnering with those who confront unjust power structures and mobilize to challenge oppressive policies. The offering will now be collected and gratefully received. Please join me in this unison reading. The words are on the screen. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who share our gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. Our reading this morning is The Embodiment of Abundant Love by Karen G. Johnson. In our lived lives, family comes in different shapes and sizes and constellations. It is in this variety, this diversity, that our lives are made fuller and our individual selves made more whole. It is in this variety, it is in this diversity that we look back to our ancestors, recognizing no monolith, but instead a rich texture that informs the foundation beneath us. It is in this variety, it is in this diversity that we proceed forward to the future, choosing to be good ancestors ourselves rather than dutiful descendants. If we live our lives in recognition of this truth, there is no reason to act as if this is not also true in death. Let us live into the truth. So many of us lean on in these times of loss, that love lives on even in death. As this is the truth of this family in life, so is it true for this family in mourning, giving free rein to all who willingly offer themselves as voice and embodiment of abundant love. So may it be true for all.
We are standing on the shoulders of giants. As Unitarian Universalists, we tend to love our giants. When I was in seminary, I was told of the three Unitarian giants, Emerson, Channing, and Thoreau, who we refer to as the Unitarian Trinity, since they were the ones who helped to shape our denomination so much. And we have modern giants in our faith as well. I consider the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to be a modern giant. We could consider Mahatma Gandhi. Many of you know about James Luther Adams, could be considered a modern giant. If you don't, we have books in the library about him. Our faith has been influenced by so many. And today, I'm going to talk and focus on one particular Unitarian Universalist giant that I am willing to bet many of you do not know about. How many of you know Jan Hus? Okay, Bert, why does this not surprise me? Did I see any other hands? Okay, all right, Maddie. All right, Jan Hus. So, Bert, did you want to come up and... No. Jan Hus was raised by a poor farming family in Bohemia in the late 1300s, while back, way before your time. As a young man, Jan Hus sang in the streets for money that he used to attend the University of Prague. Sang in the streets in order to go to school. He was an excellent student, graduated in 1396 with 2 bachelor's degrees, one in arts, one in theology, and a Master of Arts. He was very well respected by his classmates who thought him to be both humble and pious, an interesting thing for an art major. And he was very well respected. Hus was ordained into the priesthood in the 1400s. Those of you who know your religious history know that there was basically one church in the 1400s for Christians. They called it the Universal Church. We call it the Catholic Church because we think universal means something different. He became the dean of the philosophy faculty. That's a fun one. Why did I put those 2 words together? He became the dean of the philosophy faculty of the university a year later and became the preacher at the newly built Bethlehem Chapel in Prague, which is still standing today. And this chapel was revolutionary for its time. It was a place where people could hear the lessons from the Bible in the Czech vernacular for the first time. Everybody know how they used to do the lessons back then normally? Latin. Everybody loves Latin. And Hus found himself doing these Czech lessons before 1,000 parishioners. His influence grew to the point where he was hearing the confessions of the Queen of Bavaria. All of this in his early 30s. This young man had the whole world before him to think about, to go from singing in the streets to having the ear of royalty. And this was the beginning for him, if he chose. But Hus ran into a little bit of a stumbling block. He encountered an English theologian named John Wycliffe. Anybody know John Wycliffe? Okay, all right. Gail knows a little bit about John Wycliffe. He was stirring up some trouble in England, this John Wycliffe, because he had issues with papal authority. Anybody else here have issues with papal authority? All right, just one or two. Just one or two. Wycliffe thought that it would be better for folks to read Scripture for themselves, to not have clergy interpret Scripture for them. I think we can agree with that. So Jan Hus gets a hold of some of the writings of Wycliffe and becomes a convert, because let's face it, Hus was only a step away from that to begin with. He was already holding services in the native tongue of Czech. He was making things more accessible for them. And Huss agreed with this, and he let his followers know it. Now, you can imagine how the Roman Church felt about all of this. Not a fan. They did not care for Wycliffe and his ideas of getting rid of papal authority. And they did everything they could to contain his influence, burning so many books. And when Huss got a hold of these ideas of Wycliffe and started preaching them from his pulpit, he was told by the Roman leaders to stop. And of course, he didn't. But the Catholic Church was all the way in Rome, and Huss was all the way in Bohemia, and they weren't going to focus a whole lot of energy on Huss at this point in time because they had their own problems going around because a papal schism was going on at this point in time. So they just telling the Archbishop of the Bohemian era, can you take care of Huss? We're trusting you because we got other things to do. And the Archbishop tried and didn't really work. Huss became more and more popular with the people in Bohemia. But then that papal schism finally erupted. And there was some dispute over who was the true pope at that one point in time. And Jan Hus was like, I'm not getting involved in all of this. I am staying quiet. The king of Bohemia did not stay quiet, however, and drew a whole lot of attention to that area. And Alexander V, who emerged as the pope at this point in time, decides to lay down the law against anybody who's teaching Wycliffe and starts going after people. And it was too late in Bohemia. The people loved Hus, they loved his teaching, and they felt the religion belonged to them. They should interpret scriptures for themselves. They believed that they shouldn't have to buy forgiveness from the Catholic Church. They believed that was between them and their God. And when it came to the ritual of communion, the most sacred act in the Christian tradition, at the time, all of the people in the congregation were welcome to take the bread, but the wine was only reserved for the clergy. And Hus gave the wine to the people, and he let them drink from the cup. And the church would have none of it. So on July 6th, 1415, Jan Hus was burned at the stake. Jan Hus has a lot of ideas I think we can agree with. I mean, this man was a giant, and he died believing that Scripture should be available to everyone firsthand. The idea that we can interpret it for ourselves. Sound familiar? Right. He too felt the clergy had too much power, and he used what power he did have to empower others. So much of our denomination's polity comes from that theory. It is very much the congregants who hold the power. After Jan Hus's death, a rumor started, because you can't have somebody die at the stake without a few good origin stories. Some said that Hus held a communion cup in his hands while he burned at the stake. So insistent he was that this part of the sacrament should be available to everyone. And this became a symbol. And the Hussites started to gather under the sign of a chalice. And often when they would hold meetings to honor how Jan Hus had died, they would have a flaming chalice. Familiar? Now, how many of you know the origin stories of our chalice? Right? Yep. Hans Deutsch. Hans Deutsch was an Austrian refugee in Germany during World War II. He was asked to create a symbol for the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, who we just had our offering for. And his symbol was a flaming chalice. Anybody know where Austria is in relationship to Czechoslovakia? Right next to each other. I wouldn't say Prague is anywhere's walking distance if you're determined, but it was pretty close. What are the odds that Hans Deutsch knew of Jan Hus? Pretty good. Do you know there's a statue of Jan Hus in Prague? Do you know they have celebrations every year around that statue? I didn't know this till I was in seminary, and we found a song called I Feel Better Than Jan Hus. I kid you not, and it is an electronic dance song. Is the weirdest thing.
That's strange.
It caused quite the stir when we found that out. But he is celebrated as an icon. I don't know if Hans Deutsch got direct influence from him or not. But it's an idea that has legs, doesn't it? This idea of the flaming chalice, that this symbol right here has a history of helping people fight oppression from tyranny, whether it be a corrupt spiritual institution or a corrupt governmental institution. And this symbol, this idea, it's bigger than Jan Hus. It's bigger than Hans Deutsch. It's bigger than all of them who brought these ideas to us. And this is what it means to stand on the shoulders of giants. It means that we see and admire the work that others have done, and we don't stop with just admiring their work. We keep moving in the direction in which they have inspired us. This was something that was going through my head very much at full tilt yesterday afternoon. Again, for those of you who were not here, there was a memorial service for one of our founding members, Lowell Steinbrenner. These are the flowers from his memorial service. And Lowell was somebody who lived what he believed. He set this congregation in motion because he wanted to find like-minded individuals. And Lowell was a man of means. He worked hard for those means, and he put his money where his heart was. And he invested deeply into causes, especially with environmentalism, helping create a department at Carnegie Mellon University. This was a man who believed fiercely in people having agency and autonomy and control and liberation. And that's in the bones of this congregation. And those ideas are bigger than Lowell. Those ideas are bigger than all of us. And we are the ones who must stand on the shoulders of the giants to move that forward. And that is the thing. Our culture loves giants, especially Unitarian Universalists. We love to pick and choose who we say are our giants. I don't know how many times when I was first in seminary, I had people saying, well, you know, Thomas Jefferson was a Unitarian. Oh my God, do we need to claim everybody? He was not. He was not a Unitarian. He was a Congregationalist. He was a definite non-theist, I'll tell you that much. We want to have heroes to point to. We want to have people to embody these ideas, and they can be good for a while. But it's the ideas that are important. And we need to make sure those ideas keep going and growing and getting better. I'm going to go on another one here because this is one I hear an awful lot. And this is the worship of our founding fathers. And I mean fathers. And I mean founding fathers of the nation. There's a lot of worship for Washington and Jefferson. And gosh, they made a musical about Hamilton. And these were all people who did great things. And they were all flawed. And we need to take those ideas further still. When they wrote all men are created equal, they meant all white men who have land are created equal. And they definitely weren't thinking about women at the time. I think we've gotten a little better about that. A little. Yes, Janice, I know, we have a lot of work to go. And it seems like we've done a lot of backsliding lately. And we need to take those ideas forward, because the ideas are bigger than the people who created them. The ideas are to make this world a better place for all of us. And that's what it means to stand on the shoulder of a giant. It means to become bigger than them. It means to live into the idea. That's what heritage is for. It is a place to point you in a direction forward and to improve. That is our duty, to make something bigger. To take the visions, make them more inclusive, more compassionate, more sustainable, more substantial. One person with an idea, it's a simple giant. Giants topple. Thousands upon thousands on each other's shoulders, working to make that idea something that will last far beyond themselves. Friends, that's a mountain. We have the possibility to move mountains, my friends. Let us do that going forward. May it be so. So let us build a new way together, my friends, and let us rise in body and spirit to sing about this new way. It is number 1017 in your teal hymnal. This is a song that requires a little energy, folks. Y'all are giants. You may not feel like a giant all the time, but the great thing is you're already standing on a couple sets of shoulders. So you've got a big perspective. Don't be afraid to make this world a better place. Don't be afraid to make that small little talent that you feel you have shine as bright as it is. Everything we have to change the world is right here in this room and in us. Don't be afraid. You can do it. Let's move mountains, friends. May it be so. Oh, you're right. I am so thorough. I got so caught up in my sermon and in my thoughts, I totally forgot. There's going to be cake. But apparently I didn't need to preach. I just need to say the word cake. There's going to be cake after the service. See, we're celebrating today. Any of you been outside and seen our grounds and see all the work that goes into the grounds? There's a lot of work that goes into the grounds that makes our place beautiful. And this is something that has been done for years and years. And Ruthie has spearheaded so much of this for so long. And you have been such a wonderful force. You have been a giant to us, making our place beautiful, welcoming us each morning with the beautiful plants and scenery and landscape. And that is a gift. You've had a lot of help, and you're stepping down from leading it. After all of these years, you have done such a great job. So can we give Ruthie a hand for all of the work that she's done? I hope you enjoy your time not being in charge of all this. And the great thing is being a giant, your vision is always going to be there. It's always going to be carried forward. Thank you for your vision. By good new people who are going to be carrying that vision forward. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to celebrate you, we have cake. And there will be a slideshow after the service running through with some pictures of the landscape and Ruthie over the years. You're welcome to come in with your cake and coffee and come take a look. Thank you, friends.